What's up everyone, welcome to another video. And everyone first starting out tattooing, if you first picked up your tattoo machine, if you're first starting learning how to draw tattoo designs, this video is for you. This is tattoo tips for beginners. All the things that I wish I would have done whenever I was first starting out, but things I've picked up throughout the years that could definitely help you guys out. As always, if you're new to this channel, I'm Brandon from Tattooing 101, and make sure you're liking and subscribing down below so you can keep up to date on all of the new content we make each week, just for you guys. The first tip I want to point out for you guys would be that this and this are tattoo machines. I've heard so many times in this industry called tattoo guns, and this isn't something that really affects me personally. Some artists out there will get really upset and irate when someone calls this a gun. It doesn't really affect me too much, it's just a word, but one thing you want to call it is a machine, just because if you go into a tattoo studio, it doesn't matter how good your artwork is, if you go in there calling this a gun, they're going to immediately shut you down and not look at any of your stuff in your portfolio just because you do not know the appropriate terminology. So yeah, this is a machine, not a gun. So point number 2, I want to let you guys know that if you are first picking up a tattoo machine, before you actually get into tattooing, I know it's something that you just want to jump into and learn right away, but you need to follow the appropriate steps in order to learn correctly and learn as fast as possible getting into this type of career. So the one thing that you need to do is be practicing drawing. If that's drawing flash, looking up other people's tattoo designs or artwork in general and just studying it, practicing changing little things to those designs and trying to make it your own. These are all things that you need to do before even picking up a tattoo machine, because it's going to help you out a ton in your career. You could be a tattoo artist and, be able to do perfect tattoos, but if you're only copying other people's things, you're not going to make it in this industry. People are going to see that and understand that you are copying everyone's designs, which you want to stay away from as much as physically possible, if not stay away from completely. Because any tattoo artist that looks through your portfolio is going to be able to tell if it's a tattoo done before, because we get hundreds and hundreds of drawings and how to price another tattoo that someone else has done all year, all day long. So we've seen thousands and thousands of tattoos done, and we could probably point out which ones were copied and which ones were actually drawn. As you start out, I recommend that you start out with traditional, just because they're small designs that you could just practice on. You could clearly see all the line work, and if you make a mistake, it's very easy to see. So what I mean is tattoo designs like this. Pretty simple, palm-sized designs that you could just work on and not work on a huge design where you're trying to figure out what to do and you can't really see all of your mistakes. Traditional is just really great with that because you could clearly see if the line work's shaky at all, because traditional tattoos have perfect line work. They're really bold, really stand out. And then you could work on your whip shading, things like that, and you could incorporate pendulum shading and all different styles with traditional as well when you are first starting on fake skins. Okay, the next step would be, when you are drawing and getting into tattooing, doing flash, things like that, the best thing you could do to get used to holding a machine is this simple trick that I used when I was an apprentice. So all you got to do is put your pencil in there, tighten this down, and you have a pencil to be able to draw and get used to the weight of a machine. So normally I would cut it down a little bit and sharpen it so it would be the exact same length as the tube, and just let that rest on the back of my hand right like that, and then just learn how to draw. Right like that, you get used to the weight and everything, and that'll help you out a ton if you are still at your drawing process but want to hold the machine, so you could get more comfortable. That is a great way to do it. Now, you have a rotary machine, so you don't know how to do that. Awesome. So the biggest machine I recommend out there on the market is the Injecta, just because you could do so many things with it. I've made a video on this countless of times how great this machine is. So I'm going to show you how you can do the same thing with an Injecta. All you have to do is obviously take your grip off, Allen key, pop the top off, and right here is a little Allen key bolt that you could just take your bar off. And then from there, all you have to do is slide in a pen. And there you go. So you can practice drawing. These aren't that heavy, so you really don't have to work with it too much. It's not that crazy as holding a traditional tattoo machine. So You can do this if you want or not, it doesn't matter, but this is a possibility. Just if you want to hold your machine and feel like you're doing something, just slap a pen in there. It doesn't affect the machine at all. It doesn't hurt it. So it's definitely something that you could do if you haven't checked it as well. And this will work on multiples of different rotary machines, of course, unless it's a pen style machine, which obviously you're not going to be able to put a pen in a pen style machine. Okay, so the next big step when you're first starting out, and a tip that'll definitely help you guys out, is how to hold your machine. When I first started out, I had to try to figure out how to hold a traditional machine, got used to that, and then hated traditional machines, so I jumped onto rotaries, then had to figure out how to hold those. So yeah, I'm going to give you the tip on how to hold it to help your career out. This works for traditional style machines, rotary machines, even pen style machines. So when you are holding your machine, you want to make sure that your finger is underneath the cartridge, right like that. Your middle finger is resting underneath to help give stability. The next thing, these two fingers are going to be my depth finder. I'm going to place them on the actual human skin or the fake skin. That's how I judge my depth. I always put a little bit of Vaseline on these fingers so it slides really well, so I can pull really nice long lines without, creating contact and having an issue with that, which the gloves help as well. Next thing, if you are first starting out and trying to get used to holding your tattoo machine, you want to make sure that you are holding your elbow against your side for stability, so your arm's not really shaky, and this side is on the actual table you're tattooing fake skins, or the client, stretching out that skin. That gives you 2 points of contact that you're really comfortable, and then the third point of contact would be using this pinky finger of your tattooing hand and the thumb of your stretching hand. Lock these two fingers. That'll make everything way more stable. And after you get comfortable being able to do tattoos without being shaky, things like that, you don't have to do this step. It'll definitely help you out if you are having problems with shaky lines and things like that. So that is how you hold a tattoo machine. So now I wanted to ask you guys a question. So if you've been tattooing for a while and you have tricks that helped you out when you first started tattooing, all you got to do is leave them down below in the comments just so we could read them and help out other people as well if this is their first time wanting to get into tattooing. So the next thing I want to point out would be sterilization. This is probably the biggest point when it comes to learning how to tattoo. Do not touch a tattoo machine, even on fake skin, until you know all the proper steps for sterilization. So knowing what you need to run through an autoclave in order for it to be sterilized, or what different chemicals can actually clean up bloodborne pathogens, maticide, things like that. This step is one of the most important things when it comes to actually tattooing that you should definitely know before even picking up a tattoo machine. And I'm not saying things that you've read online that could sterilize it, like bleach or boiling your tubes. None of those things actually work. So learning the appropriate steps to be able to have a clean, sterile environment is definitely the biggest point that you need to know when you are first starting out tattooing. And then from there, learning the appropriate steps so you could get to your dream career faster. So what I mean by that is, say you went through all the sterilization, you know exactly what you're talking about, you've been drawing flash, you could draw flash perfectly. Now you're ready to get onto that tattoo machine. You're going to pick up some fake skins. I recommend real skins or Frankenskins. They work really well for me. I actually just did a review on Frankenskins that'll be coming out as well. The other ones you get off Amazon, they can be really thin. They're not really teaching you the appropriate depth you need to get into a tattoo, because you want to get between 2 and 1 millimeters, depending on the part of the area, into the skin in order for it to heal up correctly. Some of the ones on Amazon are only 1 millimeter thick. So therefore, you're going to be drilling into your table to be able to tattoo how you appropriately would on an actual client. So it's not really helping you out. The only thing those are good for is if you're just picking up your machine, trying to get stable, working on how to hold your machine, things like that. Yes, they're really cheap and that could help you out. But if you're working on your line work, shading, I'd just recommend getting quality tattoo skins so that you could learn appropriately. And that way you know if it's something you're doing wrong or it could just be trash fake skins. So from there, you're going to work on your line work. Everything you need to do, practice perfect circles, perfect lines, and then once you have those down, you could jump on to designs. So just working on the outlines of designs like this, saving those fake skins so you could go back when you are ready to shade them in. Once you can do perfect line work with, a 7-round liner, 5-round liner, 14-round liner, you have all of that stuff down pat, then you could jump on to actual shading. So using your mag, working on your whip shading techniques, your pendulum shading techniques, all of those things and how to pack in solid areas, that's how you're going to grow. not even worrying about color until you have these 2 steps down is going to help you out a ton, because color involves perfect line work, shading the tattoo so it almost looks done by the time you're done shading it, and then going into the color. So if you try to jump onto color before knowing how to shade or how to do line work, it's going to end up a nightmare. You're just not going to know what to do. You're not going to understand why it's not coming out how you want, and you're going to get frustrated. So I highly recommend that you follow these steps, and I promise you, you're going to learn way, way faster. Take it from me, don't do what I did. I was just thrown into the wolf's den and had to start tattooing right away. I had to tattoo color, things like that. And I had no idea what I was doing. So I messed up a lot of tattoos early on in my career because I did not follow this advice. And because of that, I ended up with a blacked out arm, because I tattooed on myself, tattooed color when I didn't know what I was doing, and didn't know how to do line work even. So I had a bunch of tattoos that I didn't necessarily like when I got good, and eventually just blacked out my arm. The last thing I want to touch base on would be your voltage. So whenever you are tattooing, if you're using a rotary machine, I recommend starting out on about a 7. I use a voltage of 9.5. Whenever I am lining, I like to use, big needles, so I need that extra push to be able to get them into the skin. And then I shade. If I'm doing like traditional, I'll stay at about a 9. If I'm doing more realistic stuff, I'll bring it down to about an 8 or a 7 volt. But that's what you would want your voltage to be around. Awesome. So I hope these tips were able to help you out and get you to that next step of your journey of becoming a tattoo artist. Thank you for watching, and also like and subscribe down below so you can keep up to date on all of the new content we make each week. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.